This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 10th day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. High Court Judge Sandil Kissoon has indicated that he will hand down his ruling next Friday in the case brought against the government of Guyana by the Guyana Teachers Union over the government's plan to deduct money from the salaries of teachers for their striking days, and the decision by the government to discontinue deducting union dues from the salary of teachers on behalf of the union. Justice Kissoon made his announcement about the date for his decision today, after hearing legal arguments in the case. Attorney for the Guyana Teachers Union, Darren Wade, and attorney for the Guyana Trades Union Congress, Senior Counsel Roy Silford, argued that government's failure to engage the union in collective bargaining for well over 3 years, despite being presented with a multi-year proposal since 2020, created the conditions for industrial action. And as such, the principle of no work, no pay is not applicable in this instance.
Today, the essence of my argument is established first that the principle of no work, no pay was inapplicable to Guyana. Secondly, to establish that the role and functioning of the Chief Labour Officer and the Minister of Labour aggravated the circumstances which led to the strike.
Senior Counsel Ford further explained that following the breakdown in talks between the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education, the union sought the intervention of the Chief Labour Officer for the initiation of conciliation and later arbitration, but to no avail. It was noted that in a belated response, the Chief Labour Officer indicated that the conditions for arbitration had not been met. However, Senior Counsel Ford told the court that the evidence presented to the court during the cross-examination of Chief Education Officer Saddam Hussein revealed that no real negotiation took place, and many of the measures reportedly implemented by the Education Ministry were unilaterally done and not in keeping with the proposals of the union.
I believe that the evidence which we elicited from the Chief Education Officer clearly establishes that the government acted on in numerous instances in a dictatorial and unilateral manner. The government proceeded over the last 3 years to impose wage increases. Those are matters which form part of the collective bargaining proposal that would have been submitted, and those matters were never dealt with at the bargaining table. There were other instances where the government unilaterally proceeded to implement and adopt certain items without the context of a collective bargaining taking place.
However, Attorney General Senior Counsel Anil Nandlal argued that the proceedings filed by the GTU are incurably detective. He submitted to the court that a significant portion of the arguments put forward by both Ford and Wade do not form part of their pleadings, including the issue of collective bargaining. Addressing the substantive issue of whether the teachers should be paid despite engaging in industrial action, the Attorney General told the court that while teachers, like other workers, have the freedom to strike, they do not have the right to strike, and therefore there would be consequences for their action.
I believe that I demonstrated with great clarity, examining the Constitution, the 1966 Constitution, the 1980 Constitution, the 2001 Constitution, and all the changes that have taken place in relation to trade unions and in relation to rights to strike and freedom to strike, that there is no right to strike in Guyana, there is a freedom to strike. That's an important thing. The Constitution has a right to demonstrate, a right to assemble, but a freedom to strike. So the draftsman using language differently, different language to portray a different concept. Then you have the right of the worker, of the employer. The Constitution also protects the employer's right to property. So how can you advocate that you have a right to pay when you have not worked?
On the matter of the union dues not being deducted on behalf of the union by the government, the Attorney General said it was an executive decision taken by the administration, and the court cannot intervene in such a matter, since there was no contractual agreement between the government and the union on that matter. He said the remittance of the union dues to the GTU was done on a voluntary basis.
matters that are within the remit of the executive cannot be reviewed by the court. And that is why in the GPSU matter, for example, with Nanda Gopal, they did not go for judicial review because the voluntary service of the government in offering this facility to the union is not grounded in contract, is not grounded in law. Is the government, as part of its policy, has decided to extend this service to the union voluntarily, and anything that is voluntarily done can be terminated voluntarily.
But GDU's attorney Darren Wade dismissed the contentions of the Attorney General, and he told reporters that he was pleased with the submissions made to the court.
I believe that myself and Mr. Ford, who represent the intervener, we did an excellent job in presenting our legal arguments before the court, the arguments in relation to the right to strike. I believe there are several legal authorities, as I did indicate it to the court, that are very instructive.
Attorney Wade maintained that the teachers had a right to strike and their salaries should not be affected. Both Wade and Ford also argued that it was discriminatory for the government to halt the deduction of union dues from the salaries of teachers, when no such action was taken in the case of other unions whenever their workers went on strike. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Guyana's landscape is set to immensely transform, with some $221.4 billion earmarked to fast-track the country's infrastructural development. To improve accessibility, $204.1 billion was budgeted for roads and bridges. Some $6.9 billion will be going towards strengthening the country's river and sea defense, $8.1 billion and $2.3 billion for improved river and air transport respectively. These projects are supported by the country's first $1 trillion budget, which was supported by oil revenues.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark. Let's tell you now that High Court Judge Navendra Singh has ordered the removal of vendors and their structures from outside the Demico House Hotel and Restaurant location at Stabroek. The judge's decision was handed down this morning and follows the court action that was filed by Banks TIH Limited, which is the parent company for Demico House. The action was filed by attorney at law Rion Miller of the Boston & Boston law firm on behalf of Banks DIH. The town clerk and the city engineer were both named as respondents in the matter, but opted not to put up a defense. The judge has issued an order directing the two senior city council officials to remove the vendors and their stands and structures and belongings from the pavement and surroundings outside the popular restaurant. In its court action, Banks DIH noted that it has been the occupant of the property since 1969, and over the past few years, the vending situation outside the business place has worsened, with no attempt by the council to address it. Banks DIH stated that the vending situation affected access to its business place, which has resulted in severe financial loss. The company also said it made several requests of the Georgetown City Council over the years to address the problem, and it even made requests for the Guyana police force to intervene, but nothing was done. With the court order handed down today, many of the vendors remain defiant. They said they were served a notice to remove from the area with immediate effect, but they do not plan to move since they have no place to go.
You have nice a youngster on this road here, sir, and I hustling for fear and kind dollar. You understand? Which in they wrong for what them trying to do, right? But they got the right kind of way and they got to try to make something a little more better for the people, because this is most people income out here and most young people too. And if they keep on with this, some young people got to turn to the streets. Bad thing gonna happen, because robbery, killing, enough of the thing gonna happen. So being honest, they gotta try to put something in a more better situation for people get for hustle and make them little bread when the day come big.
Right now, we in a tight position here, so right now, cause the country done already tight. We ain't got no job. When you go on a job, you don't get no kind of money. You can't pay your bills. You can't. You understand me? Right now, I paying a box. I got my daughter for look after. I got rent for pay. And my rent is $8 a week. Understand me? So at least I could come with some better solution, man. Everybody in here is buy from banks. All these things is banks product. I know they could do something more better, man.
Most vendors pay a money every week to sell on this pave. You can't take in people money and know this thing is illegal or it obstructing. And we end up being trespassing, we ain't doing nothing on banks building. Banks could never carry the vendors to court, because we are not dealing with banks building, we dealing with what all we own. The city council and Guyana public own the road. It is public pay, right? The pave is not banks own. The council give banks permission to shed the pave.
This is my daily bread. This is where I live in. I only Guyana and sleep somewhere, just come back here and live a whole day till night and selling banks product. So I don't understand. I in crumbling no way for banks. No way. I don't be in the way. I don't understand why they serve me a notice. I don't have limos by me. I don't have nothing. I don't give them no problem. They come for clean. I just move if I got to move for them to clean. I just clean myself. I just come out and I clean the gutter.
The vendors are now demanding a meeting with the Georgetown City Council with the hope of the council finding an alternative location for them to transact their business. There are more than 25 vendors who have built structures surrounding Demico House. The situation has been worsening, with the additional vendors coming out at night to transact late-night business operations. Earlier this year, Chairman of Banks DIH Clifford Reese told the company's shareholders that action would have been taken to clear the vendors from outside Demico House, since the situation had become unbearable. This evening, there are reports that two contractors hired by the government to construct that $759 million power plant and natural gas liquids plant at Wales as part of the gas to energy project have filed for arbitration over cost overruns of $90 million, according to a report published by the Reuters news agency. The report, however, did not identify the names of the contractors. However, CH4 Linsaka is among contractors working on the flagship project. In December 2022, the government signed a $759 million contract with CH4 Linsaka for the construction of the combined power plant and natural gas and liquid plant at Wales. The project includes the construction of a 300 megawatt power plant. However, funding for the mega project has proven to be a challenge. The government has been seeking a $660 million loan from the U.S. Exim Bank to support financing of the onshore facilities. However, that loan has not been approved to date. In February, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo said the government anticipates that the U.S. Exim Bank would decide on the loan request from Guyana by June. In the interim, the government in this year's budget approved $80 billion to advance infrastructural works on the project, including upgrades to transmission and distribution lines. According to the report published by Reuters, the first phase of a 300 megawatt power plant is running 6 months behind schedule, and full operation is not expected until the last quarter of 2025. This was confirmed by government consultant Winston Brasington, who during the recent Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo disclosed that the project will not be completed until December of next year. Brasington had explained then that the project suffered from some work delays, including the late delivery of equipment and issues with the foundation at the location chosen for the project. For the pipeline component of the project, ExxonMobil is currently building out the infrastructure to the tune of $1 billion. In its latest update, ExxonMobil said its component of the project was moving apace. The arrangement between the government and the company is that Exxon will be reimbursed by proceeds from the country's offshore production. Guyana will pay Exxon and its partners $55 million over a 20-year period at a fixed price with no adjustments. Once completed, the project is expected to reduce electricity costs and add approximately 250 megawatts of energy to the national grid, the government has been saying.
Hi, my name is Keisha Davis, first of 4 siblings. I'm a mom of 3 and I'm an auditor.
My brother Tariq is a transgender man, which means he was born female but now lives as a man. He's always known himself to be.
He's great at math. I'm horrible. And he actually helps my my 12-year-old daughter with her math. As soon as he gets home at night, he'll say, "Jazz, let's go. What would you like me to help you with?" She actually got a prize in school for full score at math and English. Tariq is my rock. Like, honestly, my confidant. No matter what it is, no matter how horrible it might look through others' eyes, he doesn't judge. And he is there to support me, to support my kids. I don't know if I will do it up.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
While the United Kingdom has told the United Nations Security Council that the border controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled since 1899, and Venezuela cannot act unilaterally to disrupt the peace of the region. The United Kingdom was among the members of the UN Security Council that voiced their criticism of Venezuela's ongoing acts of aggression towards Guyana during a closed-door meeting of the Security Council yesterday. Guyana is a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, and President Irfan Ali requested a discussion on the Venezuelan issue, citing the recent enactment of legislation in Venezuela further claiming Guyana's territory and putting up a defense of Guyana's Essequibo region. Sources said during yesterday's closed-door meeting, many of the members of the Security Council made known their objections to the latest moves by Venezuela, while indicating their respect for Guyana's territorial integrity. While the Security Council is still to release a statement on the meeting, the UK delegation, in a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, urged those with influence on Venezuela to discourage the country from any further provocative action. Back in December, when the Security Council also discussed Venezuela's actions then against Guyana, the Council denounced Venezuela's actions as provocative and emphasized the need to respect Guyana's sovereignty, and said that the International Court of Justice remains the forum where the territorial issue over the Essequibo region should be resolved. Earlier this week, the Commonwealth, the OAS, and CARICOM all criticized the Venezuelan government's decision to sign new law into place declaring Guyana's Essequibo as a new Venezuelan state. The Guyana government in the past few days has been busy reaching out to the international community and informing them of Venezuela's ongoing acts of aggression in violation of the Argyle Declaration, which was agreed to by the presidents of the two countries, and the provisional measures handed down by the International Court of Justice in December. In a recent interview with the BBC, President Irfan Ali said Guyana will call on its international partners for support if Venezuela makes any attempt to breach the border and annex Guyana's territory.
We have made it very clear that if there is any breach in our territorial space, if there is any action by anyone to destabilize our country and to invade in any way, shape or form, that we will call upon every force and every friend to help us and to work with us to protect our territorial integrity.
The opposition in Guyana has declared its support of the government and its support of the protection of Guyana's territory. In the world of politics right now, Chairman of the People's National Congress Reform Sherwin Holder has declared that the gloves are off as he sought to defend his party leader Aubrey Norton today over criticism from former party General Secretary Amna Ali. As the party's biennial Congress and elections near, the chairman of the party took to his Facebook page this morning to lash out at the former General Secretary Amna Ali, who has declared publicly that the current leader of the party, Aubrey Norton, is unfit to continue in that position. In his defense of Norton, the PNC chairman, Sherwin Holder, said over the past 2 years, Norton has stuck to his promise to be underground with the people and to rebuild the PNC reform from the bottom up. He said Norton has probably walked the ground more than some of his predecessors, including those who served as president. He said Norton has also successfully led a shift in diplomatic relations with the powers that be and has driven the PPP against the ropes. He asks how foolish can anyone be to say that Norton is not fit to lead. Norton has accused Amna Ali of orchestrating the campaign behind party executive member Roysdale Ford, who has announced the start of his campaign to be the next leader of the PNC reform. The party congress and the elections are expected to take place before the end of August. Speaking to News Source this afternoon, former General Secretary Amna Ali said she's unapologetic about her support of Ford to be the next leader of the PNC reform. She has accused the current leader Aubrey Norton of not being accountable, dismantling party organs, and in her words, breaking up the party in the process.
He is not following the Constitution. So he cannot function for me as leader. I don't believe that he is fit to be leader, and I can say it anywhere without any fear of contradiction. And there are many reasons why I say I do not want Aubrey Norton to be my leader.
The former General Secretary said the current leader has an issue with being honest, and he has not been accountable with his stewardship of the party, citing the resignations of the previous General Secretary and the previous Treasurer.
I am a PNC member and I have a right to say if I want to support X, Y, or Z. And I cannot support Norton. I am supporting right there. When it's PPP ain't got no blasted play in my book.
Amna Ali served as General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform between 2017 and 2021. After she exited the position 3 years ago, she has kept a low profile in the party, although she is still considered to be one of the most influential senior officials of the PNC. However, the current PNC Reform Chairman Sherwin Holder has questioned Ali's absence from the party since she left the General Secretary position, wanting to know what have been her contributions to the development of the PNC and its fight against the current PPP government. Holder said while he respects Amna Ali's right to endorse whomever he sees fit as the party gears up for elections, he does not believe she has the moral authority to say who is unfit to lead the party. He has accused Ali of making efforts to divide the party. In her direct response to Holder, Amna Ali reminded that she has been in politics and with the PNC Reform for over 50 years. She said Holder was no place around when she entered politics and started her work for the party, which spanned over 5 decades. She dismissed Holder's criticism of her position on Norton.
I am a PNC member. I have served the PNC for more than 53 years. I started in the PNC from age 14 because I don't know when I started politics where was Sherwin Holder. I grew up in politics and I have a right to say who I would like to be leader and who I would not like to be leader.
The former General Secretary also said she has now been encouraged to do more and ensure the election of Royceville Ford as the next PNC Reform leader. She said war break, and she will remain fully supportive of Ford. Sherwin Holder was elected as PNC Reform Chairman at the party's last Congress and elections. He is a first-time member of Parliament. The party's chairman is the second highest position in the People's National Congress Reform.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruta, Cool Kids or Viva, look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, a representative of Brazil's Yanomami people said he met Pope Francis on Wednesday to ask him to support Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva's efforts to save his indigenous people. According to Reuters, the Yanomami, estimated to number around 28,000, live in Brazil's largest indigenous reservation in the northern states of Roraima and Amazonas. Invasion of their lands by illegal miners has caused malnutrition and deaths. David Kopenawa, who co-founded and chairs a Yanomami association, which campaigns for indigenous rights and the preservation of the Amazon rainforest, met Pope Francis at the Vatican. He mentioned water poisoning from mercury used by wildcat miners in the hunt for gold as one of the biggest threats to his community, along with deforestation from cattle ranching and soya farming. More than a year after he resigned from his post as Venezuela's oil minister, Tarek El Aissami has been arrested, accused of corruption. Mr. El Aissami is accused of stealing from Venezuela's state oil company. Once a powerful ally of President Nicolas Maduro, Mr. El Aissami has not been seen in public since his resignation in March 2023. On Tuesday, Attorney General Tarek Saab shared photos showing the ex-minister being led away in handcuffs. A former economy minister, Simon Zerpa, and a businessman who had close ties to the Maduro government, Samark Lopez, have also been detained. Mr. Saab, who is an ally of President Maduro, announced the arrests in a news conference on Tuesday, but did not say when they had been carried out. There had been much speculation about Mr. El Aissami's whereabouts after the influential politician, who served as vice president and minister of industry before becoming oil minister, completely disappeared from public view last year. And finally tonight, international news. President Biden's pressure on Israel after last week's deadly attack on aid workers did not go far enough and will fail to stem the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, according to current and former U.S. officials who have spoken to the BBC. They said internal dissent in government was growing and called for tougher action and arms transfers. Israel said it would open new aid routes after President Biden threatened to reassess policy following Israeli strikes that killed 7 workers from food charity World Central Kitchen, including a U.S. citizen. But the tougher line was too little, too late, said an official working in human rights who quit the State Department in protest a fortnight ago. The U.S.-Israel relationship is currently experiencing its most serious strain in decades after President Biden's phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week that amounted to a defining moment in the 6-month conflict. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.